I'm glad to see you folks here tonight. This time we'll call ourselves to order and begin. On item 1, financial awards for financial report and achievement, City of Monroe Finance Department.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. The City of Monroe's comprehensive annual financial report for the year ended June 30th, 2017 was awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting by the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. This certificate is the highest form of recognition for excellence in state and local government financial reporting. The CAFR, our annual report, has been judged by an impartial panel to meet the high standards of the program, including demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure to clearly communicate its financial story and motivate potential users and user groups to read the document. A certificate of achievement is valid for 1 year only, and this is the 25th consecutive year that the City of Monroe has received the award.
25 years.
25 years.
Thank you so much. That's great. Appreciate what your department does. You look after the money, and that's what it's all about. You do a good job of it. And certainly it's always good to see the city being recognized for the job that you do.
I just want to thank the Finance Department for all their hard work on the report as well, especially Ashley, who coordinates the audit and assembles and reviews the entire report. And
Good.
I want to thank everybody for their hard work.
Absolutely. We appreciate your department and the hard work you folks do. Thank you so much.
Thank
Great
you.
award. Item 2, Winchester Recreation Center Supervisor Tanya. You recognize the senior supervisor.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm happy to be here tonight to recognize one of our Parks and Recreation team members, Gail Coffey. And I'm going to ask Gail if she would come up and stand with me. Gail is our Recreation Center Supervisor at the Winchester Center, and she's worked with our department in the City of Monroe for 25 years. On April the 14th, she was recognized by A Few Good Men Incorporated as their 2017 Citizen of the Year. During the time she's worked for our department in the city, she has committed herself to providing outstanding programs and facilities at the Winchester Recreation Center. These programs enrich the lives of the members of this community and the city as a whole. She serves as both a role model and a mentor to the youth in this community. Gail was chosen and recognized for this award because of her compassion for the City of Monroe and our residents. Tonight, I thought it was appropriate to take this opportunity for council to have an opportunity to recognize Gail and to help us congratulate her for this most deserved award.
Absolutely. Ms. Coffey, great job. Thank you for all you do in the community. I know you do a lot over there with the youth, and we just thank you for what you do. Thank you so much for your 25-year service.
Thank you.
All right, puts it to consent agenda. Larry, I recognize you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, members of City Council. The City Council uses the consent agenda to consider items that are non-controversial and routine. The consent agenda is acted upon by one motion and vote of the council. Items may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda at the request of council or a citizen with the consent of council. The consent agenda contains the following 10 items. Item number 3 is for the purpose of approving the budget amendment to accept the $400 donation from Advanced Driver Training Services, Inc. for use by the Monroe Police Explorer Program. Item 4 is for the purpose of calling the public hearing to receive public comment on the proposed annual budget for fiscal year ending 2019. Item 5 involves minutes and reports, and 5A concerns council's discretionary fund. There was a single disbursement for this period from Councilmember McGee to the Union County NAACP Women of the Year in the amount of $100. Item 5B involves financial reports for April 2018, and as a summary, the total fund balance is $27,321,128. A few of the subsets of the total fund balance involves the unassigned general fund balance, which is $4.1 million. The total assigned fund balance is $2 million, and the fund balance reserved by policy, which is 25% of expenditures, is approximately $9.4 million. There are 8 sets of minutes lettered 5C through I. Item 5J is summary of contracts awarded, change orders approved, and city manager settlement of claims. There are 24 contracts for the period, totaling $274,000 and change, and there were no claims settled for this period. Item 6 is the purpose of adopting 2 sets of ordinances, the first of which concerns adopting the fiscal year 2018-2019 fee schedule to be made effective July 1st, 2018. The second concerns adopting 23rd supplement to the City of Monroe Code of Ordinances. Item 7 is for the purpose of approving a refund of overcharges involving energy services for the 3-year period to Union County Schools in the amount of $826,000 and change. Item 8 is for the purpose of adopting 3 sets of resolutions. The first concerns authorizing the city to engage in electronic payments as defined by the North Carolina General Statutes and the delegation of authority to the finance officer to write and adopt policies and procedures for electronic obligations and payments. The second concerns approval of the fiscal year 2018 equipment installment financing contract to Bank of America Public Capital in the amount of $2,123,000. The third concerns approving the resolution of intent that calls for a public hearing to be held on June 5th to consider abandoning a portion of the High School Drive right-of-way for Union County Public Schools. Item 9 is for the purpose of awarding police officer Evat with his service sidearm at a cost of a penny and adopting a resolution commemorating his service to the citizens of Monroe for his retirement. Item 10 is for the purpose of awarding a sanitary sewer main inspection and repair contract to VAC Vision for total contract value of $386,723.75. Item 11 is for the purpose of awarding the 2018 sidewalk improvement project to B&N Grading, Inc. in the amount of $335,557. Item 12 is for the purpose of approving tax releases for the month of March 2018 in the amount of $2,580.24 that were created by a change or reduction in value for the City of Monroe by the Union County Tax Assessor. Mayor and members of the City Council, this concludes my synopsis of items placed on the consent agenda for your consideration.
Any questions or comments?
Move we approve the consent agenda.
Hearing none, I have a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, all pass. Go to the regular agenda, and item 13, level 3 economic development grant. Ron?
Mayor Kilgore, Council, Manager Faison. It's my pleasure to bring before you tonight an Economic Development Incentive Grant request by Charlotte Pipe and Foundry Company, previously referred to as Project Flow. Charlotte Pipe and Foundry Company, headquartered in Uptown Charlotte, has operated their plastics division in Monroe since the mid-1960s. Their campus on Old Charlotte Highway and Airport Road occupies more than 1 million square feet of manufacturing space, and they employ approximately 550 people there. The company produces PVC drain, waste, and ventilation pipe used extensively in new residential and commercial construction. In fact, the Monroe facility produces over 200 miles of plastic pipe each day. That's enough pipe to run from Monroe to Athens, Georgia, and also circle the earth in only 4 months of production. So again, an incredible amount of pipe produced there by Charlotte Pipe. The company is considering its Monroe location for an expansion project totaling approximately $22,031,000 and the creation of 5 to 10 new jobs, paying on average of $45,000 per year. The project involves the purchase and installation of new state-of-the-art production equipment and improvements to related structures. The new equipment will greatly enhance the company's ability to compete within their business sector. The company has indicated that incentives are a very important factor for the project, and the project is in competition with other corporate locations in Texas and Florida. Tonight, we are requesting your consideration of a Level 3 Economic Development Incentive Grant in an amount not to exceed $517,700 paid over a 5-year period beginning in fiscal year 2021. The grant will be based upon the Union County Tax Office's appraised value each year on the company's anticipated investment of $22,031,000 in new equipment and building improvements. Based on this investment and holding all factors constant, including depreciation, the company would pay estimated ad valorem taxes on the new taxable investment of $645,838 over the grant period. Actual tax revenue to the city will be based on the current tax rate applied to the assessed value of the investment each year after depreciation. As we do with all of our projects, we conducted a cost-benefit analysis on this project, and this one shows that there is a 1.42 to 1 return over the first 5 years, or the grant period, which increases to 16.65 to 1 over the life of the project. We presented this project to the Monroe Union County Economic Development Board of Advisors at their April 10th, 2018 meeting, and they unanimously recommended that we bring this project to you tonight for your consideration. We will also bring the project to the Union County Board of Commissioners on their May 7th, 2018 meeting, where a similar economic development grant will be requested. Therefore, the Monroe Union County Economic Development Board of Advisors and staff recommend the award of this Level 3 performance-based economic development incentive grant to Charlotte Pipe and Foundry Company in an amount not to exceed $517,700 to help secure this $22 million investment. At this time, I'd like to recognize Mr. Trent Turner, who is General Manager at Charlotte Pipe and Foundry, and Trent's available for any questions that you might have. And with that, I thank you.
Thank you, Ron, very much. Any questions? Comments? This is a public hearing. Anyone here who would like to speak in favor? Anyone here who would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and take action.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution awarding the incentive grant. And
I'll
thank you, Mr. Turner, for your consideration of Monroe, and we thank you for the outstanding job your company does here.
I'll second that, and also, there's not a better corporate company in this county or city than Charlotte Plastics, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Glad to have you in the city of Monroe. Thank you so much. I have a motion and a second.
If the maker of the motion would agree to also authorize the mayor to sign the incentive agreement as well.
Yes.
Okay, have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that will pass. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 14, the zoning map amendment request and text amendment request to rezone property located 4203 Highway 74 from general business to conditional district. Excuse me.
Good evening, I'm Carrie Mendler with the Planning Department. Tonight I'm presenting a zoning map amendment request for the property located at 4203 West Highway 74. The applicant is proposing to rezone the subject property from general business to conditional district EMH imports in order to allow auto sales and retain all uses allowed in the general business zoning district. The subject property is highlighted in blue. It is southwest of Highway 74 and then north of Rocky River, which is down here where you can't see it, but it's north of Rocky River. The land to the north is being used as a residence. The land to the south and east is currently vacant, and the land to the west is the rock quarry. And the property across from Highway 74 is used for retail sales. The subject property is currently zoned general business. The adjoining zoning to the north, east, and west is also zoned general business, and the zoning to the west is in the county's jurisdiction. It is zoned a highway corridor. The applicant is requesting the conditional district in order to allow the auto sales and retain all uses allowed in the general business district. The property currently has a 1,059 square foot building that was once a residential house. It will be converted to be the office space. The applicant is proposing the following site improvements. The applicant will pave a parking area in order to accommodate 10 vehicles. And they will also pave a area up front for the displays, to display the cars that are for sale. The applicant is also proposing to install landscaping against the existing residential to the north, as well as a privacy fence. They are also installing some trees along the front as the streetscape buffer. And the property is currently accessed by a gravel driveway located to the south that will be removed by NCDOT when they do the Rocky River improvements with the U-turn up here. And so they're proposing to install a new paved driveway to the north. Staff did post the property and sent letters to the property owners within 150 feet of the subject property 10 days prior to the public hearing. And the planning board did recommend approval of the rezoning from general business to conditional district EMH imports. City council would need to take action on the following items. A motion to adopt the resolution approving or denying the land development compliance, motion to approve or deny the ordinance amending the zoning map, and a motion to approve or deny the ordinance amending the text of the Unified Development Ordinance. I'll be happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is here as well.
The letters you sent out to the residents nearby, did you get very many back or any conversation back?
Not that I'm aware of as far as receiving any letters back, and I don't recall receiving any phone calls or any emails or anything on this particular project.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. I have some folks signed up, but I'll take the, is anyone here who would like to speak in favor? Okay. Hearing none, I have some signed up, and I'll call them, Mr. Boyd McIntyre. This is the right one you signed up for the Charlotte Avenue?
No.
It was 15.
I'm sorry?
It was the zoning, for zoning 15.
Okay, well, that's my mistake, then I looked over here and I thought I had paired up the right one, so, with the name, so I apologize for that. Okay, you're on the 15, okay. All right, anyone who'd like to speak in opposition? This is a general business conditional district. Okay, no one to speak, I'll close the public hearing and take action.
Mayor, just so council's aware, there are going to be 3 actions you'll have to take if council wishes to approve these. The first will be, as in the recommendation, to adopt the resolution. Then depending on that, it will be to approve or deny the ordinance amending the zoning map. And the last action will be approve or deny the zoning ordinance amending the text of the UDO.
Okay.
That's in your packet, but
Yeah, I see how I made the mistake, and I apologize again. Something on Charlotte Avenue, I didn't get my addresses correct, but anyhow, we're getting to that one. I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
actually, Mayor,
I'm sorry.
is that a motion to adopt the resolution?
Okay.
Approving, is that what council's, if council wishes to approve the resolution of land development compliance, that's the first step they need to.
Right, do I have a motion?
So moved, yeah.
All right, do I have a second on that? Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? You opposed? I have one, Lynn opposed. That passed.
All right, and then, Mayor, the second would be then to approve or deny the ordinance amending the zoning map, and if it's consistent with the first, it would be to approve the ordinance of amending the zoning map.
Okay,
That's the next motion you need.
have a motion on that? Everyone, or do you need to hear it again?
I move that we approve the ordinance.
Okay, have a motion.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? One opposed, Lynn. All right.
And the last one, Mayor, would be a motion to approve the ordinance amending the text of the Unified Development Ordinance.
So moved.
I have a motion for that. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? One opposition, Lynn. Thank you. That will pass. right, item 15, zoning map amendment request. Rezone property located 3610 Highway 74 West, general business and district. Who'll be handling that?
Good evening, Carrie Mendler with the Planning Department. Tonight I'm presenting a zoning map amendment for the property located at 3610 West Highway 74. The applicant is proposing to rezone the subject property from general business to conditional district 3610 West Highway 74 in order to allow auto sales and service and retain all uses allowed in the general business zoning district. The property is highlighted in blue. It is north of Highway 74. The land to the north is currently vacant and is zoned residential. The land to the east is a motorcycle sales place, and the land to the south is currently auto sales, and the land to the west is a multifamily residential complex. The subject property is currently zoned general business. The adjoining zoning to the east, south, and west is also zoned general business, and the zoning to the north is zoned R20 residential low density. The property currently has a 5,172 square foot building and a small paved parking area in front of the building. The applicant is proposing to pave an additional area on the site, including the existing gravel driveway that exits to Kempsar Lane. The applicant is also proposing to install 4 trees along the building. No additional landscaping is being proposed, and part of the rezoning also includes a portion of the property to the north that is currently zoned R20. A lot line revision will be done to include the existing driveway with the commercial property. And this property is currently owned by the applicant. Staff did post the property and sent letters to the property owners within 150 feet of the subject property 10 days prior to the public hearing, and the planning board recommends approval of the rezoning from general business to conditional district 3610 West Highway 74. City Council will need to take action on the following items: a motion to adopt a resolution approving or denying the land development compliance, motion to approve or deny the ordinance amending the zoning map, and a motion to approve or deny the ordinance amending the text of the Unified Development Ordinance. I'll be happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is here as well.
Any questions? None, thank you very much. Okay.
I do have one question. You said that this property is owned currently by the petitioner.
Yes, so both of, it might be a little easier to see.
But my question is, do you know if the petitioner is planning on operating the business themselves, or are they just getting rezoned, maybe?
I think it's their intent to actually operate the business.
Okay.
They can answer that a little bit better when they come up.
You still have to have the folks speak for her guest.
All right.
So you gotta wait for you in opposition.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go with first, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone here who would like to speak in favor?
Yeah.
Yes, if you would, come to the podium, please. Give us your name and address for our record, please.
Personal or the business? The building is 3610 West Highway 74.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
My name
and
is
address?
Paul Lavarchik, and 1506 Laurel Hill Drive in Waxhaw.
Thank you.
And I own the building here with the land, and that secondary lot behind it I own as well. It's currently just trees, and I do plan to operate myself and my family-owned business.
What type of business is it gonna be? Auto?
Auto, yep, and we only plan to, work on our own vehicles, detail and whatnot.
Okay. Just, is it gonna be a car sales also, or just working on vehicles?
No, sales, primarily it's sales.
Sales?
Yeah.
And also auto repair?
For our own vehicles.
I'm sorry?
Our own vehicles for maintenance.
Okay. Okay.
And you say your own vehicle, that's the vehicles that you would be selling out?
Correct, yeah, maintenance.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone here who would like to speak in favor? Okay, hearing none. Okay, I do have 3 people signed up here for opposition. At this time, and I'll take them the way they signed up. The first one will be Mr. Boyd McIntyre.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. I own the property right behind Suzuki. I own 4 lots there. And the reason I oppose it is because they've already been working over there. They don't seem to have any consideration for the residents that live on that street. They've had 4-wheels over there and cars over there spinning around, all this dust and all that's going down the street. It runs you to the back of the house instead of the front house. You can't sit on your front porch, stuff like that. And also, they got 2 trailers over there for trailer trucks. They seem to leave during the middle of the night for some reason. So that's going to be a problem for the residents.
And you say 2 trailers or trailer trucks, I mean tractor trailers?
Tractor trailers, yeah.
18-wheelers?
Yeah. I mean, they enclosed too. They don't look like they're hauling cars or anything like that. They just have, it just seems like they have all the disregard for the residents that live on that street. And also, the zoning department is in favor of moving that yellow line, that blue line to include the driveway, which that first lot with the building on it had a restriction on it. It was put on there when they built that there would not be a back entrance into that lot. If they move that line to include that driveway, then that will that'll violate that restriction that was put on there. The restriction was put on there for the lot, not for the person owning it. The person owned it before. He sold carpet out of it, and that was never a problem. He had tractor trailers come in there 2 times a week or something like that. That was never a problem. It looks like there's going to be a lot of traffic in and out of there, and that's one of the reasons that I oppose it. The other reason I oppose it is they're not going to put any kind of fencing or anything on the backside of there to keep the noise down or anything. It'll all be open, so we'll hear all of their beating and banging and all of that.
You currently live on Kesper Lane?
I do. I own the first house, the lots in between it, and the second house. I own all of that.
Do you know right offhand how many properties or?
There's 19 properties down there.
19 properties?
Yes. And it's a dead end. School bus turns around.
And do you know who's out there riding the 4-wheelers on a regular basis?
They are. It's not really on a regular basis, it's sometimes.
Just sometimes.
They do the cars the same way. There's a lot of noise going on over there. Of course, I know that the dust and all will not be there, but if they pave it. But there still need to be some kind of barrier there to cut down on the noise that's going on over there. They're going to work on their own cars. They're going to get them ready to sell. I understand that. I try to be reasonable with that, but they need to be good tenants also if they're going to be there.
Was there a meeting held between the residents there and the property owner so that he could address some of the residents' concerns?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because that seems to me it's more like a traffic concern as opposed to a business concern. I understand that, that you're concerned about some of the noises that's going to be in the community, but, he's asking about rezoning for business.
It was already business, but it was general business.
Right. But I'm saying
very little traffic coming in the back. you know, with kids riding the bicycles up and down the road, stuff like that.
Guys,
That's a big concern.
if we keep going like we are, we're not gonna have anything in this town with car lots. And that's gonna get awful low.
Which brings up which brings up something else. Don't have anything to do with this, but we got a car lot on the other side of the Zuki Corral over there. Just nothing but junkyard, and that's awful. That's awful.
And then you've got two across the street on 74.
We don't have a problem with that. They keep them clean.
Okay. After you finish, I've got a question for staff, Mayor. I'm interested to know what kind of a buffer is being created between this this proposed zoning and that residential area that's back there.
Okay. Any more questions, Mr. McIntyre, at this point? I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he also has the back lot too, which is zone residential with trees, so that if he keeps the trees there and you don't come back 6 months later and remove the trees for the parking lot, then that'll be a bumper for the house right behind it, but it won't be a bumper for all of us on that side. I wish you would consider putting a buffer on that side to kind of keep the noise down for us. That's really my only concern, that and the noise. Okay?
Any questions, Mr. McIntyre? Thank you, sir. You had some questions, Billy, for staff.
Oh, yes. Want to know what kind of requirements they're placing on the property owner to act as a buffer between that residential zone and the proposed zoning that he's got.
Right now, there isn't anything being proposed. Planning board did have some concerns about the buffering as well. Staff did, after planning board asked if the applicant would be opposed to installing some kind of fence along the new property line, and he wasn't interested at that at this time. But if city council would like to see some additional buffering, this is a conditional district, so if the applicant would agree to it, that can certainly be addressed.
Did staff consider the quality of life that how it was gonna change the street with 19 homes after, if this is approved with no buffering and all the noise that's gonna be created?
I mean, as far as I know, the entrance has been there for some time. And I mean,
Any
it wasn't-
requirement to pay the parking lot? Anything been on that?
They are gonna be paving the parking lot. That's part of the conditions right now.
Is that a requirement, or is that something, or they said we're gonna pay it?
Well, part of the ordinance would require paving, and since it had been vacant for so long, that was one of staff's recommendations, and then they agreed to it. So it's on their site plan now to include a paving, and removing any existing gravel that isn't paved.
Do you know how long the petitioner has owned the property?
I don't know that off the top of my head, if you can answer.
Over a year.
Says
All
over
right, so
a year.
so you bought the property with the intention of putting this type of business there before you?
You wanna come up here so we can?
What I'm asking is you purchased the property and you were just hoping you might be able to get it rezoned, put this type of business. If you can't get this rezoned for the business you're trying to put there, how do you think you might use the property?
Well, I'm a contractor as well, but, so I use some of it for just, storage of my equipment inside, but about the intention of purchasing the property was to zone it to auto, and the four-wheeler you're discussing, that's my younger brother, that's not a big deal, I can tell him not to ride a four-wheeler, and if that was noisy, but next door is a motorcycle shop, and I don't see them making any less noise than one motorcycle, but that can be eliminated. As far as the buffering question that they brought up, that lot in the back, that's a major buffer. It's a very big amount of trees there, which I don't have an intention of removing or turning into anything else. I do, putting a fence in between that lot with the building and the trees would essentially defeat the purpose. I mean, the amount of trees there is a much better buffer than any wood, cedar fence would assist. What I could do if they wanted to, I could put a fence in between the residential, properties that aren't owned by me and my property, if that makes sense. For example, right here, that's owned by somebody else, right? There's my property line. I can put a fence up here if that helps, but this major area right here is a really wide span of trees, which, we're talking about one four-wheeler and the 18-wheeler you're talking about. My dad lives in Oregon. He comes and visits us once a month, and he is a truck driver, so he'll park his truck. And if that's an inconvenience, I apologize for that as well, but he comes over about once a month or once every 2 months to visit me. So we're just basically, me and my three younger brothers, I'm just trying to set something up for the family. Here we have trees as well, and which is a nice buffer. And like I said, we'll be courteous of the neighbors, and we want everybody to be happy. And
just one other question for the staff. What about the restriction that the gentleman was talking about that keeps that driveway from opening into Casper Lane?
I think that they talked to Doug about that sometime when I was out. It's my understanding it's a deed restriction, which the city doesn't enforce deed restrictions. That's all I know about that.
to touch on that, when I was buying the property, that was a question, because if I couldn't do that, I wasn't gonna buy that, because that was a separate purchase for the lot. And essentially that would have been an issue, because I can't really own this without that driveway. So the attorney has actually found documentation to clear that up.
Okay.
So that was all cleared up.
So that was not a city restriction, that was restriction against the deeders.
And that was all handled, they found some documentation that cleared all that up.
Mayor, I think someone is trying to get my attention.
Our main entrance is right here as well. Any vehicles that come in are gonna come in right here. This would only be like a delivery or something like that, which wouldn't be too often. Probably no more often than the carpet delivery that operated out of the business in the past.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. John, we recognize you at time. Please, sir, if you will, give the, it's 2505, is that Kemp's R Lane?
Kemp's R.
Kemp's R Lane, okay.
Good evening. My name's John Leard. I live directly behind where his lot is. And to answer he spoke about having the trees as a berm. He originally proposed to take some of those trees out. So therefore, there wouldn't be a berm. Also, in the past, if you notice on the map, right behind there you have Woodbrook Lane. When they built those apartments, they also said they would provide a berm. They planted little small rose bushes. And right now, to this day, I have people that live in the apartments walk through my yard because there's no barrier. And I don't think that's fair. I mean, I'm a resident of Kemp's R Lane. Me and my family deserve privacy. And I'm afraid what's going to happen with him, if he gets approved, what's going to get approved, it's going to be the same type deal. There's already at night people doing donuts in his driveway. I get dust. There's people out there 1:30, 2 a.m. in the morning doing who knows what. We're already dealing with a situation with Jay's Auto that is supposedly a car lot, but both entrances are always, they have gates blocked, cars blocking the gates. The guy hadn't sold a car in 10 years, or however long he's been there. All it is a chop shop. It's a place for illegal activity. And I'm begging you, please, please don't allow him to do this right where my property is. We have a nice neighborhood. We have kids playing, constantly going up down that road. And we don't need another car lot with broken promises. I mean, we've had Woodbrook, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And all of it are broken promises. So please consider, you know, the residents of Kempsar Lane and me and my family's privacy. I mean, we don't want to, I mean, what he does on his lot is his business. That's fine, but I don't feel like I should have to look at it. And I shouldn't have to be exposed to what he's doing there. And to address tractor trailers, there's 2 tractor trailers up there. One of them looks like it has actually been on fire. So I don't know what's going on there, but I'm just saying that it's kind of starting to look like the same situation we're already dealing with Jay's Auto. So just, if I could ask anything out of each one of you, please put yourself in my position if you live there. Would you want your family to have to deal with the constant noise, the constant dust in the middle of the night? Because once it's all said and done, I mean, it's done. So please, I'm asking you, please consider that in your decision. Okay?
If you could do me one favor, as far as the activity that you referenced, 1:30 and 2 a.m. in the morning, if you see that, call the police. Let them come out and see what's going on. Because, you know, we kind of want to know what, something doesn't look right.
I can do that.
Call the police.
I can do that.
And they'll be happy to come out and
Right.
see who's out there. And well, I mean, you know, 1:30 or 2 in the morning, we don't need people
Right.
Doing donuts or whatever they're doing in the lot.
Right. I understand. And like I said, as far as I know he addressed the trees being as a barrier. It's not going to be much of a barrier if they cut that wood line out like they're proposing to do. It's not much of a barrier anymore. And like I said, I've already dealt with. I got Woodbrook Apartments behind me, and I'm already dealing with people walking through my yard. So just please consider that if you live there. Would you want that going on in your, around the perimeter of your residence with your kids playing? Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
All right, I also have Paul. No, was you okay? We already got you. Okay, Mr. Paul. All right. Anyone else here who'd like to speak in favor or opposition? Hearing none, we'll close this public hearing and take action.
Mayor.
Yes.
I move we deny the request. I'm gonna be honest with you. I am getting tired of riding up down 74 and seeing car lots. It doesn't speak highly of our city when I saw lot 6. I move we deny.
Mayor, before there's a second on Councilmember Keziah's motion, if I could note that what you have in front of you, because you would be, it sounds like that council is moving towards denying both the ordinance to do the rezoning as well as the amendment to the UDO. Staff would recommend that because one of the changes in state law that happened recently was that you were required to adopt a resolution saying whether or not the adoption or rejection of plan would be consistent or inconsistent with the land use plan, land development plan.
Mr. Question.
Yes, sir.
Land use plan, land development plan is only a tool to use.
Yes, sir, it absolutely is, but since you adopted it as a council, it is considered important under state law. And unfortunately, while council, I think, understands exactly what it feels is appropriate, our friends in the General Assembly had heard stories from developers who would say, well, they are doing this and it doesn't impact their land development plan, their land use plan. So that's why we're forced to do it. So here's what we would suggest from a staff standpoint, because you don't have a resolution denying that. What we would ask is that you would table this to the June meeting and we could come back with a resolution for denial. That way, I think the goal that you have in mind as a council is to reject this, and then you'll have what you need to under state law to be able to reject it. There isn't a rejection resolution in the packet, and what I've been doing is furiously trying to rewrite this for that, but I think you're better off having a resolution in front of you so that you see it, that shows that it should be rejected and why, since that is, I think, where council is headed.
But we were able to approve one tonight without it having to come back and vote. I don't understand.
No, you actually approved the resolution and then you approved both both ordinances. So because you approved it and that was in your packet, what's happened is, and this is something that staff will look at, is we probably should make sure there's a resolution that approves and denies, but that was a decision made to not have a denial resolution. If we had the denial resolution, we'd be able to move forward. But because we don't, what we would ask is if you would table this until the June meeting without further advertising, and staff will come back with a denial resolution so that you can finish the action I think you have in mind as a council. You'll still deny this, it will just take a little extra time.
Mayor, based on the advice of council, I recommend that we table this action on this until our June meeting.
Okay, I have a motion to table the June meeting. Do I have a second?
I second that.
All in favor? Okay, this will be tabled to the June meeting. It'll be finished in June on account of, we've got to do some paperwork. Okay, item 16, zoning amendment request. Zone property located at 2112 Morgan Mill Road from general business, conditional district, James River Equipment. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good evening, I'm Carrie Mendler with the Planning Department. Tonight I'm here presenting a zoning map amendment request by J.R.E. Monroe LLC for the property located at 2112 Morgan Mill Road. The applicant is proposing to rezone the subject property from conditional district James River Equipment to conditional district James River Equipment Amendment 1. The subject property is highlighted in blue. It is east of Morgan Mill Road and just south of Olive Branch Road. The subject property is currently zoned Conditional District James River Equipment, which was approved in 2016. The original Conditional District was in order to allow retail sales and retain all GI uses. The applicant is now requesting an amendment to the original rezoning in order to expand their facilities. With this amendment request, the applicant is also requesting to include parcel 09-147-003, which is north of the original conditional district. The rezoning request will not affect the existing R20 zoning district that's to the south of the property. The adjoining land uses to the north, east, and west are currently agricultural, and the zoning is general industrial, which is this purple color. And the adjoining land use to the south is residential, which is zoned R10 and R20, which are the gray and yellow colors. The applicant is requesting an amendment to the original conditional district in order to expand their facilities. With this amendment request, the applicant is also requesting to include, as I mentioned, the northern parcel. Oops, sorry. The northern parcel, which is up here. The rezoning request, as I mentioned, is not going to affect this parcel to the south. It will remain R20. The applicant paved 12 parking spaces with the original rezoning, and they are proposing to add an additional 13 spaces through the project of the timeline. And the applicant is also proposing to pave the existing access at the northern parcel. As I mentioned, they are going to be expanding their facilities. The existing facilities are the white color, and then the gray color are the expansions. So this middle section is phase 1, which is the repair shop. It'll be a metal building. Then phase 2 is the showroom and parts expansion, which will have an ultimate, when it's complete, it will have a glass and brick facade. Until phase 2 is built, they will have landscaping installed along the metal building. The applicant did submit some elevations for the new building of what their other facilities look like. I realize this is kind of small, but this is one of their facilities in Virginia, showing the brick exterior for the showroom. And then another one that's in Salem, Virginia, again showing the brick exterior. Staff did post the property and sent letters to the property owners within 150 feet of the subject property 10 days prior to the public hearing. The planning board did recommend approval of the rezoning from conditional district James River Equipment to conditional district James River Equipment Amendment 1. City Council will need to take action on the following items. Motion to adopt a resolution approving or denying the land development compliance, a motion to approve or deny the ordinance amending the zoning map, or a motion to approve or deny the ordinance amending the text amendment of the Unified Development Ordinance. I will be happy to answer any questions, and the applicant's representative is here as well.
Questions? Thank you, Mayor. This is a public hearing. Anyone here who would like to speak in favor? Anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and take action.
Move we approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
And actually, Mayor, that would be a motion to approve, to adopt the resolution.
Okay.
First thing.
I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
Then, Mayor, then the second motion would be a motion to approve the ordinance amending the zoning map.
Okay.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? That's approved.
And then the third would be a motion to approve the ordinance amending the text of the Unified Development Ordinance.
All right. Do I have a motion on that?
So moved.
I have a motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor? That's passed.
Thank you, Council.
All right. Let's take care of that. Item 17, presentation of the budget message.
With the mayor and council's approval, the presentation of the budget message is requested to be recommended for acceptance as if read in its entirety into the public record.
Okay.
Also proposed is a one-time bonus for employees, which was presented to the General Services Committee on April 19th for your consideration.
Larry, one change on that. That one-time bonus, 2.5% would be below department heads. Anybody above or at department head would not. It would be below department heads. And I'll make that motion if it's in.
Actually, I think that would be, what you'd probably have be more appropriate is to provide that to the manager for consideration, because you wouldn't approve any portion of.
It had already
budget
come up
this time.
before the general services,
Yes,
and
sir.
we had talked about it.
Yes, sir, and I think what I'm trying to say is that to make an amendment to that outside the budget process, I think all that's happening is the message is being presented. If council wishes to go ahead and do it, you can. I think the more appropriate thing would be to have the manager modify the budget.
I think we ought to go ahead, because we had talked about it at general services, and I make my motion to be voted.
I second that.
I have a question before we move forward. How did we come to not approving a bonus for the department heads? How did we come to that?
Their pay and people above, like Larry, Majid, and Brian, salary-wise was much higher than the ones below, and that's the way we decided that.
And I have whenever we got the email, we received the email, there were only 3 people, I think, whose names were excluded. How many people do we exclude when we add department heads in there?
I can't tell you that.
Can somebody give me some?
Approximately, just off the top of my head, I would say approximately 15.
So we go from excluding 3 people to excluding 15 people. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's approximate. Department heads would be approximately 15 people.
So it'd be 15 people in addition to the 3 that were mentioned in the email? 18. Okay.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay. Oh, let's see, public comment period. This time I have one gentleman sign up. Is it John Patrick? Am I saying that right? If you wouldn't, we recognize you at this time, sir. Name and address for our record, please.
Yes, sir. John Kirkpatrick, 201 West Sunset Drive, Monroe, North Carolina.
If you could hold it to 3 minutes or around there, we appreciate it very much.
Yes, sir. This will be the
I
shortest.
want to cut you out any time, but we just
Yes, sir.
But if you need it, we'll do it. We'll work with you.
No, sir, I would not need that much time. First of all, thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Councilman, for allowing me to stand. I just wanted to stand on behalf of our community. We know that in the past couple of weeks that we have had quite a bit of chaos that has hit our community, from last weekend to a young man being killed, as well as this weekend as well. And I would just like to, first of all, thank all of the officials, the law enforcement that have supported the efforts of the vigils that we have had. We had one on last Tuesday at Relax Inn, and we had one on last evening at Mount Calvary AME Zion Church. And so our objective is just to continue to build the strength in the community, bridging the gap of what is seeming to be shifted in our community, and just wanting first of all to let you all know that we appreciate your support in being there. Councilman McGee has been there, as well as Officer Green and Officer Kilgo and other officers as well. And so just wanting to know, what are your efforts to help continue the support in our community, to help build the momentum of strength, helping our young men and our young women understanding the value of life. Our objective is not to get anyone to come in and raise our children and to make them become what that is our responsibility to do, because they are our children and they are our family members. But we're wanting the support because as we build the support, getting them to trust law enforcement as well as city councilmen, government officials, we're wanting to bridge that gap between our community. I stand as a pastor in this city, as well as a nonprofit organization president and CEO of the Village Development Center, and we continue to work with children and families who are at risk. And we understand that working with children and families who are at poverty, they are at risk to crime and other activities that are not what we want our community to be. And so understanding the spirit of Union County, the spirit of Monroe, I'm a native of Marshville, but I got delivered and moved to the big city of Monroe. And so understanding that this is our city, these are our children, no matter what color they are, black, white, Hispanic, and we need to work together to continue to strengthen them and give them the enlightenment that they need, the support that they need. And so again, I thank you all. And as a community leader, I'm just asking and wanting you all to continue to work with us. Saturday, we're having an event for all young men as well as older men to come at our church, Rehoboth Temple at Franklin Street at 10 o'clock, where our men will be providing lunch for everyone who's there. We're going to have a round table discussion. We're going to break out in groups. We're going to talk to the young men about creating vision for their lives, getting them to understand about a short-term and long-term goal, and we're going to hold them accountable within 6 months. Our objective is to revisit those goals and to see where they have missed it, if they've made their goals to become a reality. And so, again, thank you for this opportunity, and we're hoping and praying that as we see what's going on now, that it will cease in our community and that we will build a better community for our young people in Monroe, North Carolina. So again, thank you.
You're crossing the Masonic Lodge there, right?
Yes, sir.
I've been there.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And we know.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you again. Yes, sir. I think you make a good point there. Thank you very much.
Got a question.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You're from Marshall.
Yes, sir.
You now live in Monroe.
I do live in Monroe.
Are you a Yellow Jacket or a Red Hawk?
I don't like Red Hawks or Yellow Jackets, but I'm a part of all of it.
I'm just kidding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kirkpatrick.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate what you do in the community, sir. Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak on public comment? Hearing none, we'll close that and we'll go to item 19, which will be a closed session.
Mayor, I got one thing before we go into closed session.
All right.
I'd just like to take a minute to thank our police chief and our many law enforcement officers that have been involved in the two unfortunate incidents the last 2 weekends. We've had a lot of people out putting in many hours to try to do everything right and to make us have a safe community. And I know that the chief has been out working the last 3 weekends, as many of our command staff have. Our detective division has just done an outstanding job, and certainly need to thank the Union County Sheriff's Department and the SBI and the district attorney's office as well. And I'm sure our fire department played a key role in the last 2 weekends. It's been a tough time for them, but they've done an outstanding job, and they all should be commended for what they've done.
Okay. Good job. All right, this time we're going to close session. Now, somebody read the motion. Everybody got one?
I move to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute sections 143 through 318, or 143-318.11A1 and A3 to prevent the disclosure of information that is privileged or confidential pursuant to the law of the state or of the United States under NCGS section 160A-168, or not considered a public record within the meaning of chapter 132 of the general statutes to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the city's attorneys and the city council.
You have a motion, you need a second, Mayor?
Yes, I have. Do I have a second? I have a motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are going into closed session.
Gina, take care.